Hello and welcome to 2020 Bolingbrook. I'm Barbara Parker. Sit back, we've got a great show in store for you today.
Hello everyone and welcome to 2020 Bolingbrook. With me today is Sue Quigley, and she's an Illinois resident who started playing the ukulele, and she's going to tell us all about it. Sue, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate it.
Sure, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the ukulele?
All right, I am originally from New York, but moved here as a child.
Where in New York?
Rochester.
I'm from New York City.
Oh, okay.
Born and raised by Yankee Stadium.
Oh.
No wonder I like you.
Yes.
My fellow New Yorker.
And I moved here in grade school, and then was raised here in Glen Ellen, and then moved away in a couple different lived a couple different places over the years, but came back here in the 90s, and have been here ever since in Lisle.
Very good. Now, what made you start the ukulele? Because it's not something you played as a child, right?
Correct. My mother played it as a child when I was a child. I tried it and didn't like it. I played woodwind instruments, so I do have a musical background, but single note instrument, as does my sister, who's a few years older than me. And I did that all through school, all the way up to college. And a couple years back, when my father was downsizing into an apartment, he asked if anybody wanted Mom's ukulele, and I said sure. And so I brought the ukulele back. I sat down and tried to play it, and it turned out the one he gave me was a baritone ukulele, and that's very similar to a guitar. And I didn't really want to play the guitar. That's not what I was hoping to do. So literally within a day or two, I opened up the College of DuPage extra courses that are for fun. And right there in the opening spot was a course for the ukulele. And it included a ukulele. And that's actually the one I have right here.
Wow.
And so it was.
See, that's the size I always think of a ukulele being.
And this is a soprano, the relatively the most probably well-known, and that's its size. And it's kind of small, and it's what people probably associate the ukulele sound of. And the whole course was $90, and it included, this happens to be a Kala, which is K-A-L-A, and it's actually a pretty good brand for the money, and it's a great starter, and it served my purpose for quite a bit of time. You know, I got a little fancy strap, got my tuner. Got to have a tuner. You don't do that little humming the harmonica thing anymore. It's electronic, of course. And
now, when you took those classes, was it one class that you went for, or was it a series of classes?
I want to say it was just 1 5-hour day.
Wow. Okay.
And it was really fun. The class was probably 20 to 25 people.
Wow, nice size.
All age groups. And took you through some basics, tried to get you to understand some simple things, and then split you into groups and said, pick a leader and play a song for us. You know, work on it for half an hour or something. Our leader was a 7th grader.
Wow.
And it was so fun to actually be taught by a 7th grader, and she was really good. She actually taught herself on YouTube, and she was really already miles ahead of all of us. Whereas the class, I really needed it to get some basics down. I don't learn as well from YouTube. I listen and enjoy it, but I don't end up ultimately practicing with it or doing something on a basis to learn. So that was very fun. That was very fun, and that got me started with that size.
Well, how many ukuleles do you own then?
I gave the baritone to my sister, and she got hooked on it. She lives in Nashville, Tennessee, And she's hooked, and she's in lots of groups, and she's retired, and she's having a great time with it. And she owns a lot more ukuleles than I, because I just have the two.
Okay.
I have, what happened is, this one I played quite a bit, because what happens is when you meet other ukulele players, like in this class, they tell you about other ukulele things that are going on. Oh, I heard there's a group here, or I heard there's a group there, or go on to Meetup and find that you might have one right near. Now, I work in Westmont, and a lot of the music stores have some kind of group that's right on their website usually. And Uncle John's is where the first group I found through word of mouth. Uncle John's Guitar Center or Music Center, and every month they hold before COVID, they would hold a breakfast, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, something like that, across the street at a restaurant, absolutely fabulous. I think it's called, that also has an outdoor a patio, and you could play, and you'd have a room full of 30 people with ukuleles, and other people just eating breakfast. And it was the most enjoyable thing. It's the happiest people you're going to meet,
Wow.
because you almost can't be unhappy playing the ukulele or even sitting in a room full of ukuleles.
Now, when you're sitting in that room playing, do the restaurant give you a request?
No, Uncle John actually runs that one, and he has a small band, and he actually has so I've got my little props here. So this is the book where he has these, he'll supply them, and he has a set list, if you will, for the day.
Okay.
He's picked out the music you're going to play, and it stays with fairly simple, meaning not too many chords, different chords to play, and not the hard chords. There's hard, just like any instrument, there's hard chords and easy chords. And so, and again, that's once a month, very casual, very just enjoyable. I brought my dad when he visited, and he loved it. He doesn't play the ukulele. He sings along here and there, but it's just a very happy environment.
Wow. How neat. So do you belong to some other groups or clubs besides that?
What ends up happening, again, is you talk to different people, because I will sit with different people if I go alone, and they'll tell me about another place. And then if you know somebody musical at work, one of the fellas told me that in Aurora, there's Hicks Brothers Guitar, and they hold a group play session on Saturday mornings. And originally, before COVID, you paid $10 and you could stay for the different levels for whatever you were happy with. So it started with beginner, it went to intermediate, and then it went to the advanced.
And those are the hard chords then, huh?
It's the harder music. Now what happens is this group was more just let's go have fun. And my favorite thing to say is when you can't play a chord, you just kind of air guitar it. And if you're sitting in a group, nobody knows that you didn't play it right. And in this group, he starts with the first hour being some basics and learning some things. And so I've got a whole nother book, because he writes his music a little differently than the way they do. Okay? Everybody has their own style. Okay? So there's a lot more notes. There's a lot, and he does licks. Do you know what a lick is?
No.
It's just a group of individual notes in the middle of a song, like a bum bum bum. Just usually a bass line, but with ukuleles you don't tend to have necessarily a bass. You don't have to. So with Hicks Brothers, I learned a little bit more, and I found that the soprano, which has the typical, and it's not probably in tune, but it's a little out of tune. But my dog has fleas, right? That's what everybody associates with it. That's a ukulele for sure. And that's what will also differentiate it from a guitar. A guitar has 6 strings, but this has 4 strings. And that chord progression is probably nothing like anything in a guitar. Then back to the Hicks brothers, so that's the Hicks brothers. They, the fellow who runs it, Carl, he likes putting in all the extra stuff. And so when I found that I liked playing the extra stuff, it's helpful to have a tenor. So that's when I bought myself. And to give you an idea, all in, it's about $200. I got a prettier case this time instead of the standard black case that I had to embellish with that so I could tell it from everybody. This way I can, and if it's in a pile somewhere, I can tell it from everybody else's. And so this one, I haven't gotten a fancy strap yet for it because I haven't gone shopping for them. And online, I don't want to, I want to see it in person. So I just fashioned a belt to make a strap. And then I also have a little string here extra that's for the cat. Because she likes to play with her own cord while I'm playing. And she does come running when I get it out. It's really funny. She knows when I'm getting this out, that this one she can play with. And in this case, you get a low and a tenor. You can put a low, so now it's a progression instead of that first one being the high note. So it's now low, and that's great for doing some of the licks that are in the different songs that are embellishments, if you will. It's a lot of fun. And so it's in size. You can kind of tell. It's a little bit different. And it's a little bit fatter. And so the difference in price is probably anywhere from $50 to $75 difference between these two, maybe. These two particular ones. You can spend as much, like anything, you can spend as much as you ever want. There's probably lots of, all the famous guitar people have gone into making ukuleles. The ones that are making them all in the West Coast mostly. But there are some made in Europe, and I don't know my names very well. This happens to be an Ohana, and I picked this because I was actually able to play it, whereas I didn't get any choice on that one. It just came with the class. But what I learned is, and I would recommend to anybody, it'd be great if you go to a place, like both the two places that I mentioned, they have a whole wall of them, of ukuleles, and you can try it, and you can find out what sounds good to you, what feels good to you. This is far more comfortable because I have a pretty good size hand, and it's a little bit easier for me to get my hand on the different fingerings without touching the other string. The littler one is really tiny for my hands. I can do it, and I will say the thing you have to understand is you have to be willing to give up at least your left hand of nails, because you really should be on top of it, not like that. It can be done.
When I was a youngster, I was actually maybe like tweens, what they call it today, maybe going on 13. My uncle was musically inclined. He owned his own nightclub in New York and everything. But I wanted to learn the guitar. And he says, no, let me teach you the banjo. And so I said, okay, but I had to cut all my nails off, and I was just at the stage now where I wanted to have them. And with the banjo chords, I had to get calluses because the touching the strings were so tough.
My sister says she calluses up. I don't happen to callus up from playing. And who knows, it could have something to do with what strings are on here, the tension. I don't know, but I don't play enough to get calluses yet. Who knows? You can keep your right hand. I just happened to break one yesterday, or I would have a handful of long nails right now. If I have to break one off, but you can keep your right hand because they're actually handy for picking. So just like a banjo, you can pick this, but to me it's not quite the same thing. I would love to do the banjo, but it's a little too busy and I don't have the time to dedicate to it.
Well, my banjo lesson, I got to play When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, and I quit. I'm like, no more, Uncle Eddie.
Song.
And my uncle could not read a stick of music. Everything was by ear for him. So he could play anything once he heard it,
My dad can play the
but
piano that
he
way.
could not read music. So
No,
in
same here.
exchange for learning that, I was supposed to teach him to read music because I played the flute
Oh,
then.
cool. Me too.
So I knew music, but we didn't last very long. I quit.
Well, it's very interesting going from a single note to a chord this late in life. I don't think in chords. I really think in single notes musically. And so, but there are times where it's super handy to be able to read music. Usually, like I say, they just write the chords on the music, and you're just playing along, and you just follow along, and it says, play this chord at this point in the song, play this chord. You don't really need any notes. But then there's one more, excuse me, book.
Yeah, from another group.
No, this is
Nope.
actually the Daily Ukulele. This is the yellow book, and it's play a song a day. So it's literally designed so you could go through it and just play one song per day for a year, and then you would learn all these different songs. And the thing with this one is, it's more like music the way you and I might know music. It's going to be single notes, and it's got some songs that even, I have a pretty wide music interest of listening, so many songs I know, but sometimes I kind of can't get the song going in my head right. And so I actually, another little thing, still have a flutophone, and I will play it just so I can get the song right in my head before I go to here. And I'm terrible about understanding what the first note is, except for this book actually shows you on the ukulele what note to play, and that's where the song starts. And that helps me tremendously, whereas all the other handwritten stuff doesn't have that. I could probably add it myself, but it's not as thorough. And with this little book, it's got a whole bunch of instructions at the beginning, and I've already gone through and highlighted my favorite songs, and I'll practice and play them just because I enjoy them. But it's a well-known book that everybody, what's handy is other people could have this so that you would go and say, hey, let's both do this song, and you can both open your book. And you don't have to worry about all this handwritten stuff and trying to share it. And then, as I said, there's tons of things online on top of that, okay? That's the whole other world. Once you go to all these different groups and you're meeting all these different people, they start asking if you know about this other group. Or, have you ever gone there? There's like one in Oak Park on Thursday nights. There's one up in the northern suburbs. I don't even know what day, but some just don't work in my schedule. But then you find out there's what I call conventions.
For ukulele players.
Yes.
Now, have you gone to a convention?
They call it something different usually because they give it a cute little name typically. But I met my sister. She came up from Nashville. I came down from Chicago, and we went to one in Nashville, Indiana, which is outside of Indianapolis, near Columbus.
Okay.
And we went it was a 3-day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a ukulele maker, or they make them and they import them. And I can't remember their name right now. That's funny that I can't. But they're the ones who put it on, and they had it all at a hotel, the Nashville Inn, I think it was, and 250 people. This was in January. And they hold different seminars and training things and sing-alongs, and then you all get together in the main room and you play, and they put the music up on there. And so you have all these people, and there are a number of performers that travel worldwide that are featured throughout the weekend.
Wow.
That play. Didn't even know this all existed out there, right? Neither did we. And that's where, in January, we met P.D. Mack. And He's one of the ones that plays all these different, and they don't call them conventions though, but weekends. And like we were supposed to be going to one in November, but it got canceled because of COVID. And that was like T-Bug, Tampa Bay Ukulele Getaway.
Was it in Florida?
Would have been right on the beach. Could you imagine? We'd be staying in a resort right on the beach. All the activities were going to be held outdoors. There was going to be, I think, one night with a luau style outdoors. It would have been so fun, but it got canceled. They're doing them virtually, but obviously that's not the same as being there. And then from the January one, we were supposed to do one in April, like the last weekend in April in Memphis, which is where this P.D. Mac is. And he was going to be one of the people. And we were all set to do that, of course. And then COVID.
That darn COVID strikes again.
Yes, it does. So again, they try to do it virtually. But the interesting thing why I mention that is because my personal situation was I worked at home for a week or two, and then I was put on furlough. And that started April 1st. When you don't have a daily routine and you're furloughed, you don't know what to do with yourself. So one of the things that was great was that I had met this P.D. Mac, and he actually did work. He has continued to work all through the COVID. But on his lunch hour, he hosts a Facebook Live that is playing music, and he has it all posted in a songbook that he wrote and arranged. So he's taking famous music and then making his own arrangement for us. And he puts the chords, the fingering right on the edge so that you don't have to add that. And you can play along. And his philosophy, he was the one of the get-togethers on the first night of the Nashville get-together. And his feeling is, it doesn't matter how well you play, just play and sing along and have a good time. If you don't have, because what happens is just like any instrument. It's, you learn some basics, you get sort of comfortable, but you're still not really there. And the harder part for me was really getting the strumming. The strumming is an art form in itself. That's probably why I like picking, because it's single notes, and I like that. But strumming, when you watch all the ukulele players playing, all their hands are always moving. And you're thinking they're going strum, 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 strum. But they're not. They're actually sometimes only hitting the strings when they're going down, and sometimes only hitting the strings when they're coming up, so it establishes a pattern, a strum pattern. That was really hard, and still is. I struggle with that probably more than anything. There are songs you will recognize by the intro, just based on how they strum. You'll go, oh, I know what song that's going to be. Nobody's sung a word yet, but I know what it'll be because of how they chose to strum it. It just isn't straight out back and forth and back and forth. But the good thing is, in a beginner group, or like with P.D. Mac, you can do whatever you want to do. Whatever you can do, go ahead and do. You're home alone usually, unless you have somebody else in the house. And then it could be a little painful for them.
Close the door.
Yes. But just strum, just go back and forth. Because eventually you'll get it, and you'll be able to only do the downs when you need to do the down, and the up when you only need to do the up. And, I write them across the top of much of my music. That's one thing that's not really in the songbook, what strum pattern, but you start to understand, like any song that is kind of cha-cha-cha has a different strum pattern for sure. It's not just going to be back and forth. Same thing with anything that's a waltz, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, that's probably going to have an interesting strum pattern also. And then there's times where you're just going to do picking, but unlike the banjo, it's not usually a super fast song. It's you're picking it to be mellow, to be more mellow. So it's super interesting to me how you can just keep learning more and more and more layers of stuff. And you can take one song and play it a couple different ways depending on what you choose to do with the strumming or picking or a combination of both.
I never thought that the ukulele could be that interesting.
Correct.
It just seemed you just, but
I remember trying it probably in my teens, early teens, somewhere in there. My mom, she would play a song and it was very pretty. And then I'd pick it up and I'd try to do it. And I just, in the frustration of not being able to pick it up and do it like that, it held no interest for me. And it didn't seem like something I wanted to be able to do. And now it's a really calming, fun, relaxing enjoyment to be able to do this.
and that's good you have that, especially during COVID now.
I really, really miss playing with the different groups. I got to the point where I would stay for the advanced group with the Hicks Brothers, and they actually do performances or not. They go to like different centers and put on shows, if you will, and sing-alongs. And I'm not to the point where I even have the time or the ability really to be that good with them. But that's the advanced group, and they're doing a lot of the fancier stuff and having people sing at different times. All the men sing, all the women sing, something like that. It's very fun. But that's what I'd strive for, so that someday it would definitely be something I'd put in my retirement life. And
now that you've picked it up, how long has it been that you've been actually playing the ukulele?
where I really did any amount of seriousness, I'd say about 2 years.
Okay.
But not thoroughly enough, not a good regimen. I probably advanced more in my 3 months of COVID than all of it, the rest put together, simply because I made it a part of my day. I said every day I'm going to try to watch PD Mac, play along, and just do the best I can and hope the neighbors don't complain because I live in a condo. And so hopefully they...
And they haven't knocked on your door yet, have they?
Nobody has, no. I haven't had the nerve to go out and sit outside and play for any neighbors that are within balcony earshot. I meant to do that last week when they had a porch event or something on Facebook. Go sit out on your porch and play. I would have sat out on my patio and played some, but I forgot. It happens. So, yeah. It's a very fun, easy instrument, I think, for somebody to pick up. You don't really have to have music ability. I would say if you just like listening to music or singing. If you like singing to music, you probably could pick this up
Now, I
easily.
love singing to music,
Okay.
but there's a lot of people that don't like to listen to me singing to music.
I can carry a tune, certainly. I wouldn't say I'm a stellar voice.
I think I could carry a tune. It's just other people listening don't. But it doesn't stop me from singing.
I enjoy the advanced group also, I think, because they have some really good singers. And if I'm sitting next to one of them, I really enjoy it more because I feel like I can just sing along with them and my voice just adds a little instead of standing out. I don't really want to stand out. I just want to be part of the chorus.
When I was in junior high school, we used to put on like 2 music shows a year, one like Christmas time and one end of the year. And I played the flute, and my good friend Rita played the violin. She always managed to sit behind the curtain where you really couldn't see her. So one time I asked her about it, and she said, I don't want anybody to see me making mistakes. She said, I really hate this thing. I'm only playing it because my father wants me to.
That's funny.
And then getting into high school, she refused to take an instrument.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't mind. I just don't think I'll be the spotlight singer.
Yeah, well, you never know. Well, everybody, you learned a lot about the ukulele, and sit back because Sue's going to give us a little performance.
And now we're going to tiptoe through the tulips. Take it away.
Goodbye, Joe. We gotta go. Me, oh, my, oh. We gotta go pull the pro down the bayou. My Yvonne, sweetest one. Me, oh, my, oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share of meal. Pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and be gay-o. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Did you recognize it?
I did.
Thank goodness. Well, that was. But that's the sound that you associate, I think, with. It's nice and high. The other thing that I was going to explain was like, Can't Help Falling in Love, the Elvis song, right? That one has a lot of different possibilities because it's a slow, it's sweet, and you can either strum it or.
Now, in the original song, now that you're saying that, they must pick it when they start. I'm trying to remember his version of it, and then it probably goes into a strum.
So right.
You could do both in the same song, then it doesn't matter, right?
Yes, yes, and that's what I was going to show you in this song, which is kind of cool. Okay. So this song, to me, when we started playing this song in the Hicks Brothers group, that's when I decided I don't like the high G, and I want the tenor with a low G. You can have a low G put on any size. It doesn't have to be on a tenor, but it makes sense on a tenor because the tenor is going to be the lowest that is set up the standard ukulele, not like a guitar.
Now, do you always have to play your ukulele with the strap around?
It makes it easier for pressure. Okay. When you try to just hold it in the air, sometimes, like I can do this, and I'm only holding it with my thumb. So I don't have to worry about keeping a grip on it this way. So a strap comes in handy, and like I say, this is just a belt fashioned, and then my little string for my kitty that she can play with. And she's really tiny, so she doesn't disturb anything. So when you hear the this, it sounds better to me. I'm happier playing it, and I enjoy playing this on my own. Why? Oh, it's going to be high. Oops. It's not the best song for me, but it's a different mood, right? It's a different mood with the strumming. And then when you get to this part, you go like a river flows. That part, you strum like harder. So, and I'm not very good yet in this song, but that's a song that I strive to practice to be able to do all that extra stuff. My favorite song, it's very short. It's a really old one from Irving Berlin. Always. Have you ever heard that?
Well, just like I didn't know that name of that song was Jambalaya, so.
I'm going to bet you know this once I get playing it.
All right.
And it's one that I practice every time, so hopefully I'll do okay and get through it. Because it's just a really pretty song. And it's got a little bit of it's got a lot of movement, okay? So. I'll be loving you always. Always. That's when I'll be there. Always. Not for just an hour, not for just a day, not for just a year, but always. I like that song.
I recognize.
I
You
knew
can
that
pick one out. You know, I mean, I know Jambalaya. You know.
Yeah, that's a pretty. That's a very pretty sound. That's kind of a mix almost.
Yeah, it's more like a mandolin sound.
Can't wait to get on the road again. See, I don't have a good strum for it yet. That's one that, because it's kind of a fast one.
Well, you can try it. Just try it. On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I live is making music with my friend. I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Like a band of gypsies, we go down the highway. We're the best of friends, insisting that the world turn it our way and our way.
Bow. And it's supposed to be in there.
Well,
Right?
there's a lot of stuff you can do with that, and
That's a fun one.
obviously, when you hear the original song, I don't think there's a ukulele in it.
Probably not.
You know, it's most.
Was just a little girl. I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Hey, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Say, Sarah, Sarah. What will be, will be. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's one. I remember my mom playing that one, I think. Oh! You're doing great in there. She can sing. You can sing.
My grandmother's on my father's side favorite song. She's
I believe that.
Oh yeah.
That's an easier one.
All right, you're singing it. Here.
Well, okay, she's gonna need to sing. Come on. Hey, good. Hey, is it there? Hey, good looking. What you got cooking? How's a little something up for me? Hey, sweet baby, don't you think, baby, got a brand new recipe? I don't know this part. So I got a hot rod board
and a $2 bill.
$2 bill.
And I know a spot right over the hill.
There's
Soda pop and dancing is free. If you want to have some fun, come along with me.
Hey, good looking. What you got cooking? How's about cooking something up for me? Oh my gosh.
It's a great practice to build up
Oh, that's cool. Wait, I'm not even getting anything.
Well, okay, it's a hammer-on, and,
Okay.
and it just builds strength, and you can actually do it with each finger.
Okay, that's what we learn with the hammer on.
Hi there, this is Barbara Parker at 2020 Bolingbrook, and with me today is Sarah from Versity Blood Center, and she's going to talk a little bit about the importance of donating, especially now during our pandemic.
Hi, it's important to come donate with Versity Blood Center. We're here today till 7 p.m. So come out and see us. When you do donate, you do save 3 lives because they take the components of the whole blood, which is red cells, platelets, and plasma. Which the platelets and plasma are used for cancer patients, so it's definitely important to come out and use it. Or you can use the Alex machine to get on the red cell machine and separate it to the red cells, where that's used for trauma and surgery. So it's very important to come out and donate today. We will appreciate you and welcome you with open arms to our blood drive. Thank you.
How are you? I'll be with you in just a moment, okay? Sure. Yep. It's good. Big improvement.
Are you welcome to be the other place?
Are we absolutely? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we moved in all in one day.
Oh, good. Wow.
That's it. How to do what? Yeah, they're running out. A friend of mine, her girl got through, had some that were left, and she told me that she had some that maybe 40 Yes. You know what?
Somebody's doing a poll between Gary Marcy and you will be able to call. It might be Gary Marcy or Lisa Beneford or
And then I told her, I said, did you vote for yourself? She said, no. I'm like, you want your numbers. Yeah, we have
If I discovered something, probably phones don't have that. at the end of the just over 349.
Thank you very much. You were very nice. Now, you got a picture with all the stuff on it?
There you go. Yeah, gotta get some boys to come donate. The younger guys, they have to be led, if you know what I mean. Younger people.
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
Say hi.
Hey. In fact, get on over here.
Really? Why? Did. As you could see from the blood drive we had back in the beginning of September, it is very important for you to give blood, especially at this time during COVID. There's a lot of blood drives going around in the community. Please check it out and see if you could sign up for one. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning back in. With me today is Christy Lynch, and she's one of Bolingbrook's finest in our fire department. Christy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your fire experience.
Okay, my name is Christy Lynch, as you said. I've worked here at the village for 17 years. I've been in the fire service for 24. I'm a mother to 4 children. They're all teenagers now and traveling in a bunch of different directions. I work here as assistant EMS director, and I also work in our community risk reduction group. And I love the community, and it's been great working here for as long as I have, and I hope to do a few more years before I move into retirement.
I'm there now.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, when you first started out and you went through your training, how difficult was that?
So there's always a physical part to it that is true for everyone. It doesn't matter, female, male, that part doesn't matter. There's a physical aspect to all of it. And so it's important not only when you're beginning your fire service career that you maintain your physical fitness, it's important to do that through your entire time as a firefighter. So you have to make sure that you're physically fit. I've always been someone who's been active and always thought physical fitness was important. So if you have a base fitness level, you're gonna be in pretty good shape. And then I went through a fire academy, which was 12 weeks long, and you go every day and you're doing all the basics, learning all your basics. It's hard, it's strenuous work, but like I said, if you have a base physical fitness level, you're gonna be okay, and you certainly improve as you move through there. And it's important when you're starting off, you're just learning the basics, you're just trying to get through those probationary periods so that you can, move past that. I do formalized education. We have the Office of State Fire Marshal does different programs, and you go through those different programs and you learn how to drive the fire engine, for example. That's another step in your training. Going through hazardous materials training is another step in your training. So there's an outline, and you move through those steps, and you just kind of come along as you go.
It's funny when I hear you talk about hazmat. I used to work for International Paper, and while I worked in the office, we were attached to where I worked. It was a distribution center for them, and we have to do that because some of the chemicals that they use with the paper, and we had to go through basic training with that. I can't imagine what you have to go through because you're touching it more than we just had to make sure it didn't fall and splash. You guys have to worry if it catches on fire and everything. So
and we have actually specialized teams on our department that everybody's trained at a basic level, but then there's specialized teams that help to deal when it's kind of a larger incident. Yep.
Now, every time I tell somebody I'm going to have a fire person on, they always ask me to ask about Chicago Fire.
Yeah,
And,
it's
and
funny.
The funny thing with that is, like, listening to you talk about the training, they did have 1 or 2 episodes where one of the ladies who was a paramedic wanted to become a firefighter, and watching her, and I would say it was a little bit of a struggle with some things.
Sure.
I mean, she ended up making it through, but like you said, it doesn't matter, just a matter of how fit you are as
Right,
if you
exactly.
do it. But do you get asked a lot about Chicago
Oh,
Fire?
yes, all the time. I've been told times when we've gotten off the rig, and there's been a couple different people with me that, well, you guys look like you're just right out of Chicago Fire. I think the benefit of those shows, though, is it exposes a lot of people to kind of, I mean, it's a scripted show, so it's not everything that we do, but it exposes people to some of the work that we do. And I think what's great about them is it actually shows a lot of diversity, and people can see that, and then they think, oh, well, maybe that's a job I want to do. So I think for that part, it's good. But yeah, people always talk about those type of shows, and I think it's fun. I think it's okay.
It's good. Now, with Chicago Fire, too, you always see scenes where somebody's in charge of the cooking
Sure.
at the firehouse. Who cooks at your firehouse?
It's kind of a mix. A lot of times the new guys cook. So that's
Okay.
kind of the role that some of the new probationary guys will take on. It's kind of a badge of pride if they can cook a really good meal. So, and people are making some really good stuff there. There's been an evolution in the fire service on moving towards a generally better health and wellness. So, the guys are making really good meals now, trying to make sure that we're maintaining our physical fitness. So, it's fun to see that. We have people that eat all kinds of different foods, and the dinner table at nighttime, deciding what we're going to eat, who can eat what, is kind of an interesting thing. But everybody kind of takes a turn cooking. But majority of the time, those newer guys are kind of taking on that role.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it seems like in Chicago Fire, it's like, okay, they do have the new guy
Yeah.
doing it, but then there's somebody that can cook something, and then he's the person,
Yes.
the thing.
And there's always one of those. I could name a few right now. We always have a couple guys that if they're at that station, they want that guy to cook because he's great and everybody loves his food. So there are definitely those people that we work with that are known for being good cooks.
Okay, I was also told that your husband's a firefighter.
Yes, he is.
How do you manage the shift changing
Yeah.
that's going, especially with 4 teenagers?
Yes, it's challenging. I mean, we both love this work, and that's kind of one of the reasons why, we love each other, because we have this shared interest. So it's a challenge. There's a lot of coming and going between that and our kids' sports and all their activities. But, at the end of the day, we make sure that the time that we have together, we make sure that it's family time, and that, we're shutting everything off, and we just make priorities to make sure that it's important to us. So.
Well, that's good. I know that's good. I mean, just 4 children alone. My
Yes.
daughter had 4,
Yeah.
and it was going here and there.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
and it could be challenging just with that. Never mind with your job hours
Yeah.
and days changing all the time. It's good. Now, are you involved with community service here?
Yes. One of the things that we do here, we have a community risk reduction group, and one of our highlight programs is our home safety survey program. And it's a great program, and what we do with that, and we are back running with that, even with COVID, and we are taking all the precautions, is we come into your home, and we come and look at your home, and we kind of assess it for any type of fire prevention things that we could say would help mitigate a fire or stop it from happening entirely. We do fire inspections through every business in the community, and we just wanted to add that and offer that to our residents. So it's something we do. It's a great program. We've done quite a lot of them, and ideally we would get into everybody's house and do this. The best thing for us is if we don't have any fires at all, and that's really what we want. So we did that. This last year, I worked with the American Red Cross, and we did the Sound the Alarm program. And in one day, we put in over 300 smoke detectors in town, which was awesome.
Good. Congratulations,
Yeah.
and thank you.
Yeah, so we're always involved in trying to find ways that we can give back to the community, and try to see what needs that they have. We always are looking at our prevention programs, and we do CPR here. We have a child safety seat program where we come in and people bring their cars in and we check their car seats. So we have a lot of great programs, and we're coming up into October, which is our fire prevention month. So for us, that's usually a time where we really try to get everybody in the community involved.
Now, with fire prevention coming up, do you find that you have more people calling for the risk assessment then, or?
It kind of just depends on, the PR. Before COVID, we were doing a lot of different PR programs. We kind of had to shut that down for a little while. So I would anticipate yes, because we try to bring out a lot of different of our PR information. We just had those events at the town center Those ones are another place where, you know, we go to those events, we showcase our programs, and then we will get a lot of callbacks. I just did a CPR training the other day, and we had a packed house, which was great. You know, we had our social distance, everybody wore masks, but, you know, those were individuals, people from the community that are healthcare workers that needed to renew their licenses, and it's great that we can have that for them.
Now, can any citizen call up to be part of a class for that, or do
Yeah.
you need to have a group, or is it one-on-one?
So we have every month, we do 2 different times a month that we do CPR training. But if you have a business in town and you have a lot of people that you want to get through, then we can coordinate with you, and we will sometimes go to your business to do it, depending on the business size. But yes, all of our information regarding our CPR program and child safety seats, home savers, it's all on our website. If you go just to the village's website and you navigate to fire, you're going to find all that information there, and then you can sign up for those classes.
Now, when you do a risk assessment, what are some of the things that you look for?
So we're looking for, first, that your smoke detectors are in place and working. Those are so vitally important. Early detection of a fire lets you get out of the house and reduces your risks. We're looking at things in your kitchen. You know, kitchen fires are some of the highest fires that we have, so we're looking at making sure the kitchen, you know, you don't have things next to your stove that could catch on fire. We look at the electrical safety throughout the house, making sure you don't have overloaded outlets, things like that. We look at your water heater, your dryer, a place like the dryer, making sure you are cleaning out all that lint. Right, I know, we're all guilty of it, right?
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I've never even paid attention to that.
Yeah.
My oldest grandson's friend, their house caught on fire
Oh,
because
yeah.
of that. They were home. Thank God the mother was doing laundry and it was late at night, but they were awake and they saw it. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
damage to the house, but they got out okay.
Which is great,
But
right.
it's something you don't pay
Yeah.
attention.
And everybody pulls the screen out, which is great. That's important. But there's that space underneath that gets that extra lint that people don't kind of pay attention to. So that's the kind of stuff that we go in and we look. And all we're doing is we're just making a recommendation. We're just saying, here's some things that you could do that would help, some prevention measures. And it's up to you to decide if you are going to do them. It's just, like I said, they're just recommendations.
Now, with smoke detectors,
Mm-hmm.
where do you recommend that they be placed in the home?
So they should be, you should have one in the hallways outside of the bedrooms. You need one per floor. And then we assess that and we take a look at the size of the house, and, you know, because some of the homes are very big and they may need more. You know, we're never going to say you would be wrong if you wanted them in each one of your bedrooms. We're not going to tell you that if you want more, that's great. But you definitely want one on every level of your home. And the smoke detectors are changing over onto these 10-year smoke detectors now. So what's great about them is you're not going to have to change a battery. You know, we always go through that every 6 months. You should change your battery, change your clocks. With the new smoke detectors that are coming out, and that they're out now, you can go to any of the big box stores and find them. They have a 10-year battery inside. You're never going to change that. You're just going to change the entire unit over. So we are recommending that people start to move over to those smoke detectors when they are able to.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, I also understand that you guys are involved with muscular dystrophy, and that you'll have an event coming up because of COVID. You couldn't do what you were going to do.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we have some representatives that work directly with it, but they are doing a run-a-thon. So they're doing a bunch of guys. It's going to be 24 hours, to my understanding. They're going to be running, and I think they're going to do some live feeds of it, and they're taking donations. And like I said, we go out every year typically, and we do Fill the Boot, which is great, and it's obviously such a great organization. So we're just trying to do something where we can still, you know, get the contributions that we do, but try to do it in a different way because of COVID. So they're going to be doing a 24-hour running, and there's a bunch of guys signed up to do it, and they're all figuring out how many miles and who's going to do one. So that's coming up soon.
So are you going to have a contest among yourselves then? Who could run the longest?
Well, I'm
or-
sure that they are. I mean, we have a lot of guys who do marathons. So I think, there's guys, God love them, that are going to be out at 3 a.m. running. So yeah,
Is it a 24-hour period that you're going to do it, or?
that's what it sounds like it's set up for. Yep.
Okay, good. And the date of that is going to be again?
I am not 100% sure on the date, but I can certainly give you the information.
I think it's November.
It's
So-
definitely mine, but I don't know the exact dates, but I can get them for you.
Well, that's good. Now, I have one last question
Sure.
for you. If there's young females out there
Mm-hmm.
looking, what would you like to say to them to encourage them to become a firefighter?
Well, first, it's an amazing job. I don't think there's any job in the world that's like it, where you get to help people. Your day is different every single day. So I think it's awesome for male or female. And as a female firefighter, I have done this job for 24 years, and, you know, it's been awesome. It gives me an opportunity to first, I work a 24-hour shift. I'm home for 48 hours, which as a mom is fantastic. I feel like I have the best of both worlds where I'm a full-time, work full-time, but I'm also a full-time mom, so I think that's awesome. It's gonna be a great career. They're gonna have a great time. They're gonna meet great people. They're going to help people. You work with great men and women every day inside of a firehouse. You make lasting relationships with people that, you know, will last long beyond your retirement. So I think it's something to think about. I wouldn't be afraid that, you know, if it looks like it's tough that, you know, maybe I can't do it. I wouldn't be afraid of that because I think you can. I think you can absolutely train yourself physically to be able to do this job. You know, we may not approach a task the exact same way that a man does, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. We can. We're just going to do it a little bit differently. And that's what you learn from being in the fire service for so long. You learn different techniques that work better for you. And it's not even necessarily that that's a female thing. Sometimes people are just smaller statured, and we just have to approach things differently, but we're all going to get the same task done. So I think that they shouldn't be afraid of that. And I think one of the most important things is to get connected to other women in the fire service. I think there's a great community of women in the fire service, and the more you can connect with other women and they can kind of share their experiences with you and you have someone you can relate to, I think it's important and can kind of help you navigate different things through your career.
Do you have a mentorship program in the fire department?
So all fire departments have sort of an unofficial mentor program where you have senior guys at firehouses that, you know, kind of take on that role. We actually have a probationary firefighter with us today. As one of the assistant EMS directors, I'm going to be working with him to get him into our system. So you kind of have this unofficial way that people start to take on these younger people and to mentor them. So that's something that's great throughout the fire service everywhere, that just kind of naturally happens. And that happens for all of our employees, all of, you know, female or male, that they're going to find that mentorship with someone there that they're going to connect with, and they're going to help them through that process.
So if somebody was interested in this unofficial mentorship program,
Yep.
would they just contact the fire department, the chief?
So if you're looking to get into the fire service, one of the things I recommend is you should, you know, your local colleges offer EMT programs. Places like Wilco and other vocational training centers, even when you're in high school, you can start to access the fire service. Start to reach out to your fire department so that you can communicate with them and see what programs are available to you. And then if you're really interested in going down that path, then you start to look at places like going to College of DuPage or Joliet Junior College and getting your formalized education. But you can certainly reach out to members of our fire department, and they can kind of talk to you and they can counsel you on what next steps are important. We have a lot of our firefighters who, you know, assist with some of those type of programs, and they can communicate with them and get them to on the right path of where they want to be.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, Christy, I really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
taking the time today, coming in and giving our viewers lots of
Yep.
information.
Thank you.
So thank you, and please stay safe.
Thank you.
Bolingbrook, you just got a lot of information from our wonderful firefighter, Christy.
Hello, Bolingbrook, and welcome back. Ken and I both have our mask on our leg because right now we are socially distanced with enough space between us, so we're going to keep our masks off for right now. Ken Harris, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks for the invite. I really appreciate coming up.
You're welcome. I'm sure most of the people in the community know about you, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your two roles that you're going to be speaking about today, your Will County Board, and then being president of the Forest Preserve.
Yes, I am on the Will County Board. I represent Bolingbrook, heart of Bolingbrook, zip code 60440. I'm into my 8th year on the Will County Board. I'm chair of the Finance Committee and also sit on the Public Works and Transportation. And I'm currently the chair of the Ad Hoc CARES Fund Committee. In addition, I'm also the president of the Forest Preserve of Will County, and also the president of the Illinois Conservation and Park Districts.
Wow, so even more than I knew about,
Yes,
so
yes.
that's good. I'm learning Bolingbrook. All right, well, first we're going to chat a little bit about the board.
Yes.
What's going on with our county board right now?
Right now, we're in the midst of finalizing our budget for FY 2021. So that's going on. We're gonna set that for a vote in November at our county board meeting. So we do have that in the works.
Now, let me jump in with a question. does the board budget go calendar year? So is it January 1 to December 31st?
No, we have a fiscal year budget, beginning, December 1st.
Okay,
It's our fiscal year, it ends on November 30th.
okay,
And as you know, we do have an upcoming election, so we will have a reorganization once the new board takes over. So we also will be having a new county executive. So every 2 years, we go through a reorganization on the county board. We elect the leadership and the speaker and the works.
okay, so let me ask you, we're doing the budget then. We have election November 3rd,
Yes.
and there's some talk that it could be a little bit later. When do you vote on the budget then in November? You have,
It's the third Thursday during our regular meeting when we vote.
will the new board be part of that then, or are they invited to be part of that?
They will not be part of it because they have to be sworn in, and that's on the first Monday in December.
Okay,
So, but by law, we have to have a budget. If not, then you can't run county government.
okay,
So the budget will be in place by the time you're sworn in.
okay, all right. So they don't have any input on the budget, it's already set in stone and that's it?
That's it.
They just start then in December,
Yes,
and then they can start acting on whatever actions are before the board,
Yes.
correct? Okay,
yes.
all right.
And as the public, you're more than welcome to provide input through your our county board website or that nature. So, but for the most part, in official capacity, new board members will not have input on this budget.
Okay, are you meeting in person or is it still via Zoom?
We meet via video conference. We use the WebEx platform.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, for the most part, we've been meeting virtually.
And the public can attend those meetings
Yes.
virtually?
The public is more than welcome to attend. You can go to willcountyboard.com to sign up for any committee meeting or any regular board meeting. That's the same as the Forest Reserve. We do invite the public to log in virtually. Like I say, willcountyboard.com. Go there to find out information on you. Attend.
Okay, all right, well, that's good to know.
Yes.
All right, now the big news, the CARES Act and what's going on.
The CARES Act, Will County received $120 million back in April from the United States Treasury. So since that time, we've been trying to put procedures in place to get this money out to the community of Will County. We got the local government, we have municipalities, the allocation set aside for them. We're currently in the process of evaluating the application for our small business set aside, allocation. And the not-for-profit is going to be rolled out pretty soon. In addition, we have housing and food categories set aside, and miscellaneous to cover any type of miscellaneous request we have.
But if any Bolingbrook residents right now had, needed some help with their rent, mortgage, utilities, or food, they could actually visit our township for that, for more immediate help, correct?
Yes, the township, that's the purpose of township government, to help the residents. So I encourage you to reach out to your township, and hopefully they will reach out to the Will County if they're needing additional money due to COVID. And also we have procedures in place like the Will County Center for Community Concern that's there to help out too. But I would start with your township government and reach out and let them know what you need. And we also have some great not-for-profits in our community that can help and assist and provide guidance.
Yeah, I've been seeing on, Facebook is good and bad, but the good during this COVID time, it's connected people, so you
Yes.
don't feel isolated and alone as much as if you were in your home by yourself. But also, you're seeing that there's a lot of community organizations, in addition to churches, sponsoring food banks. They have the diaper depot for people that might
Yes.
need help with that, so that's been a welcome plus, I think, to the community.
Yes, it's very welcome, and we do appreciate those organizations out there, and I look forward to partnering with them and helping us get this money out to the community. And also on a note with the not-for-profit, we have already set aside 1.2 million for behavioral science. So we realize these are difficult times, people dealing with stress and mental and other type of emotional type issues. So we have set aside money for that to help with individuals. We're working with various not-for-profit agencies now to assist those individuals.
Last month, I had Dr. Sandy Carlson on,
Yes.
and she was talking about anxiety, and I was chatting with her about with schools,
Right.
and she gave us some tips on what people could do to help with anxiety.
Yes.
And that was very helpful. I had somebody come up to me that said they practiced it with their child because they were nervous
Right.
it was the first time, they were just entering first grade, and they were nervous about being on a Zoom,
Yes.
getting class, and she did some of the breathing things with them, and she said it helped. So That was a plus. Sandy, way to go.
Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it. But there's a lot more help, a lot more needs out there, so we realize it's difficult times, and we're going to do our best to try to help out where we can, especially with this COVID money that Will County has. So we encourage you guys to just keep reaching out, and we'll find a way to help out best we can.
Now, there's a deadline with this money, correct? It's got to be spent by a certain time?
The deadline is December 31st of this year, but we're kind of hopeful that that deadline will be extended. We've got an eye on Congress to see what they do with this second stimulus package and maybe loosen the restrictions or whatever we're faced with. So some of it, as you know, this money cannot be used for revenue replacement, and that's the biggest chunk of what a lot of municipalities, local governments, and other businesses are faced with, that lost revenues, that can't raise money as they used to in the past.
But now my understanding, the money's to be used for anything you had to do in your business or nonprofit in order to continue working with the guidelines of COVID in place, correct? Like if you had to put up screens, you know, the plexiglass screens and order new things for your people, those would be covered, correct?
Definitely, that would be covered, and the small business portion is a little different. It's a grant program, so you can use that for rent, utilities, operating expenses, supplies. The governmental and municipality is more of a reimbursement. It has to be a COVID impact. You must show a COVID impact, and that's I think most of the municipalities are doing well with their allocation, but I think the lost revenue would definitely help. So hopefully Congress can get their act together and help us out.
We can only hope.
We can only hope.
Okay, now on to the forest preserve. I see a lot of things, and some of them are pretty amazing to me. Like, I didn't even realize that Halloween is going to be a full moon. And I'm on this committee with them, so I get some emails, so they talked about that, so I shared it with everybody this morning, and they're all like, oh my gosh, on Halloween, a full moon, how cool is that, and everything. But could you tell us a little bit more of what the Forest Preserve actually does?
Yeah, the Forest Preserve model is bringing people together with nature, and that's the mission of the Forest Preserve. So we some of our Forest Preserve, we do have dog parks, and we have other trails and bike paths, and we have canoeing now at Wayland Lakes here in Naperville, Bolingbrook area. So we just voted to bring that canoeing operation here so people can enjoy the river or the little lake front we have in Wayland Lakes.
So you're gonna be able to rent a canoe
Right.
over there? Okay, can people bring their own canoes there?
Some people bring their own canoes. I mean, when I ride the path, I see a lot of cars with their own canoes. So.
I almost hate to admit this, but I've never been down to the lake.
I would say go to the lake. It's very, very scenic, very refreshing just to walk the path. And as in the past, prior to COVID, we used to have food truck Fridays. And that gave the resident a place to relax and get some food after a long week.
I know, I kind of miss those food truck rallies
Yes.
coming around. Oh, hopefully COVID goes away.
Right.
We could get back to as much regular as we can in 2021.
And you connect to Wayland Lakes. You connect from the Hidden Lakes Trail to Wayland Lakes. And I think the trail leads into Naperville trails. So it's really a nice experience to get away and just think and gather your thoughts.
I've been to Hidden Lakes, but I haven't been to Whalen. And Ed Crotty,
Yes.
he posts some wonderful pictures on Facebook. Like he does sunsets and around the area, and I'm like, I gotta go. And I haven't been yet.
Maybe I'll get you out one day.
One of the things that I like about seeing some of the things that the Forest Preserve does, since kids are learning remotely, to me, it's a good experience for them to get their exercise and do
Yes.
some nature things.
Right.
There's one woman on my commission, Laura, she does some pretty neat things with her children while she's out in nature,
Right.
kind of making it a science lesson at the
Yeah.
same time. So if you put your mind to it, there's a lot that you could do.
Yes, and I encourage the residents to go to reconnectwithnature.org. We have various volunteer opportunities. We have a nature foundation that assists us with our efforts. So there's quite a bit with the Forest Preserve, and take advantage of it. I mean, it's for our county. So it's one of those hidden gems that we have, and I think it really helps if people get out and enjoy it.
Oh, good. That's good. Is there anything else you
tough, but the Forest Preserve been doing quite well with this COVID. As you know, we had reserved to help us stay afloat. As you know, 99% of our funding comes from taxes, property taxes. So we did build up a nice reserve. So I credit that with the fiscal responsibility the board has had over the years, making sure we do sound policies and budgeting. And the staff has been wonderful. So all of our dog parks are open now. I know when we was closed, that was one of the big things that people wanted.
Yes, even when the trails opened up, like some of the restrooms, the water
Right.
fountains were shut off, nobody wanted to
Yes.
take a chance with anything. Are restrooms now open at some
All
of the
this
trails?
should be open now. It should be
Okay.
open at full capacity. So,
Okay.
and then we are learning that, when it first hit, hindsight, we would do different things differently.
We didn't know anything, so,
Right.
we were shooting in the dark, really.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you have to be cautious.
Right. Have to safety at first. So, yeah.
Yes, they did.
The efforts, while social media is up, all our followers and everything on various platforms.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's been a push to get the word out about the Forest Preserve. Just one of those side notes.
Okay, now, on social media, you're on, I know they're on Facebook, because I'm on Facebook. Are they on Instagram?
We
or-
have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn, and Pinterest.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're exploring some more options also, but right, for the most part, those major ones we are.
Okay. So you want followers?
Right.
All right, I have to be good then. I'm gonna have to follow, because I'm just on Facebook.
Yeah. Every little bit help, even a little Facebook post or share, that may lead someone to our website.
I share a lot when I see things to the two Bolingbrook Friends page that we have here. And then there's two that I'm on in Romeoville from being involved with Pride and Relay.
Right.
And so I share it there also,
Okay.
so.
Yes.
And then when it actually has to do with planting, then I share it with my beautification group.
Okay, good, yeah, just share, guys, share the good stuff. So,
And there's a lot of good stuff to be shared.
a lot of good stuff.
The Forest Preserve is doing a great job.
Yes, we're trying.
I have not encountered any person who was not nice and helpful from there.
Yeah, we got some wonderful staff on the Forest Preserve and also with the county that love doing their job, so we're definitely thankful for that.
Yes. Bolingbrook, you heard it first here. Follow the Will County Forest Preserve.
Yes.
Well, Ken, I want to thank you for coming on the show and giving us an update about everything. I really appreciate the time you take. And Bolingbrook, you've just learned a lot about Will County. Go visit some of our trails. They actually are wonderful.
Yes.
And be like me and take a trip to Wayland Lakes.
Thank you. Thanks for.
Hello and welcome to Bolingbrook 2020. Today I'm at the Levy Center with Boot Scootin' Judy, and she's going to talk a little bit about herself and how she got started teaching line dancing.
Hi, my name is, like I said, Boot Scootin' Judy. That's my line dance instructor name. I live in Frankfort, Illinois, married. I have 2 sons. I got interested in line dancing actually with my mother-in-law back in the 90s. She told me they were having lessons in line dancing at a VFW hall in Tinley Park. So I started dancing there, and then later on I started teaching line dancing at a couple venues. My main one I taught for 10 years at Saddle Up Saloon in Naperville, on the Naperville-Aurora border. And I taught there until last March when, because of COVID, the club closed. But I really enjoy line dancing. It's great exercise. It's great for muscle memory. It's great for your mental memory. And I started teaching seniors as well at the Elmhurst, the Abbey for the Elmhurst Park District. And I subbed for Jerry Fusak, who was doing it here at the Levi Center, and she has decided to retire, so they brought me in here. The thing about teaching seniors is you sometimes have to modify the dances because of issues with balance and turns. So like the younger people can do a lot more turns, and but you know, with some older people, they have difficulty with the turns or balance. So you modify the steps. Instead of a turn, you'll do a rocking chair, things like that. But it's really great fun, really great exercise. I put my phone in my pocket to see how many steps, and usually in an hour to an hour and a half, you do over 5,000 steps. That's a lot of good exercise, and you don't even really know it. So.
Well, Judy, I guess they could say when you started line dancing, you took to it like fish takes to water because you jumped right in then to teaching.
Yes, that's true.
And I can tell you, last week was my first time, and I had a great time. And hopefully today we're going to get to show a little bit of our line dancing class.
Okay, great. Thanks. Twice, so step together steps. So our weight's on our right foot, and I say 5, 6, 7, 8. That's like our market set go. So here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Step together, step, touch. Step together, step, touch. Step together, step, touch. Step together, step, touch. Now you're on your right foot. We're going to step in that same step touches, but we're going to go back and clap. Step, touch, and clap. Step, touch, and clap. Step back, touch, and clap. Step back. Now we're going to walk forward. Left, right, end of the dance. There's no turns in this one. That's why I start with this one. It's the easiest dance. It's a one-wall dance. Hey, sorry, I'm like, let's do the whole thing.
Poking along.
So 2 to the left, 2 to the right, then back, and then walk forward. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Step together, step, touch. Step together, step, touch. Step together, step, touch. Now we go back. Back, left, right, left, right. All right, so let's do it 2 times in a row, then we'll put the music on. So here we go. Step touches to the left. 5, 6, 7, 8. Step together, step, touch your right toe. Step together, step, touch your left toe. Step, touch, step. Now we go back. Left, right, left, right. Now go left. Step together, step, touch. Step together again. Step. Now we go back. Back. Left, right, left, go left, and right, and left, and right. Now we go back, left, right, left, right. All right, we're ready for music. 5, 6, 7, 8, left, right, go back, left, right, left, right, go left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Now we go back, left, right, to the left. Go back, go forward. those step touches, like we're going to do 4 to the right. And it says in the song, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the, so you go to the right. So here we go, weights on our left. We're moving our right foot this time. We're going to the right. Right together, right together, right together, right touch. Now same thing to the left. Left together, left together, left together, left touch. All right, that's half the dance. Then we do heels. We're going to put our right heel out and step down. Left heel step down. Right heel step down. Left heel step down. All right, so let's try that. That's 3/4 of the dance. We'll do it twice, one time with steps and one time with counts. Most line dances are, you do sets of 8. So most common is a 32 count dance, which is 4 sets of 8. So we've already done 3 sets of 8. So here we go. Weight on our left foot, we're moving our right. 5, 6, 7, 8. Right together, right together, right together, right touch. Left together, left together, left together, left touch. Right heel, left heel, right heel, left heel, step down. Now you're just going to turn a quarter turn. We call that a flat wall. And you're just going to march. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Starts the dance again. Now you can, at least at the clubs, you can sway your hips as you move if you want. I'm going to do that, but you know, otherwise you can just march that. You know? All right, that's the whole dance. Let's do it with counts to the right. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3,